Welcome back to Auxano, where we discuss our guests' causes of growth or their causes of change. Today, I'm with one of my old squad mates, back when I was still in the active duty military. A lot of his words and his brotherhood and his friendship took me out of a lot of dark places, and I'm glad that he came on to the podcast and he said yes. Actually, even asking, so it means a great deal more that he did. So without further ado, who are you and what do you do?
What's up, man? My name's Tim Bruce, and first let me say thank you for having me on, man, and it's great to see you. It's great to see that you're doing good. I think it's been, over a year since I last seen you?
Yeah, it'd
September 2022, yeah?
be about, yeah. Actually, probably a little longer now because we're airing on 2024 now. So
Oh, okay.
crazy,
All right,
crazy,
I got you. But no, my name's Tim Bruce. I'm 26. I'm from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, small city suburb right outside of Philly. Um, After the military, I moved to Michigan. Originally, I was going to go to U of M for physical therapy, but I'm actually switching my major. I still plan to go to U of M to nursing. We'll get into why and all that, and I also have a funny story related with that.
all right.
But yeah,
Hey, bro, it means a lot that you're here, back in Virginia,
Yeah.
back hanging out with me. Granted, like we would always hang out in like bigger groups and stuff,
hmm
but in the times that we were able to hang out one on one, were I think was like the real moments of like our friendship growing.
yeah,
And
definitely.
so it's super cool that you wanted to do the podcast,
Yeah, definitely.
amongst other things. Like, don't get me wrong, like eating out
Yeah.
and stuff, always dope. Like, yeah,
Sure, yeah.
But the fact that you said you wanted to come on to the podcast means a lot more. So
You know what I think's interesting about that too? I feel like us making that connection was kind of a unique thing. I don't always know other people's perceptions of me, but sometimes I'm just a deep thinker. I think about it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like at work, like in that setting, you were almost seen as like the dojo, the calm guy, and I was seen as this like very like excitable, like
explosive.
yeah, expressive, loud, and even scary to some people, unfortunately. But so it's like almost to get past those two like masks, if you will, or labels that maybe people have placed upon us, and have like a deeper connection. Like man, it's those kind of friendships that I really miss in my life right now. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's much appreciated.
I got you, bro.
Mhm.
I got you. And likewise,
Hell yeah.
I'm not just gonna sit here and be like, likewise,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yeah.
it's always interesting the people you meet in the military, because like the different
Uh-huh.
walks of life are just so like. I remember we were talking about this with Jose, but like, where would you have like some Asian kid from
Yeah.
California, some white kid who's from Philadelphia,
Yeah.
some like Puerto Rican guy all the way from Florida, and then
Yeah.
maybe there's like you have like those weird people that are like come like overseas that like they're Chinese or
Yeah.
like, actually come from Mexico, like
Yeah,
barely
yeah.
a lick of English, and only the military does that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, like it's just let's just hop into it.
Yeah,
just
let's
hop
do it.
into
Let's
So,
do it.
All right, starting with level 1, icebreaker.
Okay.
Do you want to? Oh, so to explain the game, you choose between the top or the bottom, and you read it to the audience and then give your answer,
Okay.
and then you just move on to levels. So which one do you want?
Okay. I'll go with this one.
Okay.
Where's the strangest place you've fallen asleep? Man, that's a good one.
You can't say marching. You can't say you fell asleep marching.
There was one time I was on duty, and I was in the fucking what's that place called? The admin. That's one thing. Like man, like as I became further and further removed from the Navy, I started forgetting the acronyms and all this shit. And like now I'll be like when I talk to friends who are still in, they'll be talking about like, oh, I did the ASF and the da, 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 and I'm like, man, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, the gate shit. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
right. So, yeah, it was up in admin, like in the cubicle areas, right? Yeah, I just like,
Just dozed off.
yeah, I just fell asleep. Like, no, like I literally laid like, I think there's a table like along the windows. I just laid down there and I fell asleep, and Maurice found me. Yeah,
Maurice,
yeah, he
bro?
found me. He was just
Aw,
laughing, dude. It was all good, man. He wasn't gonna snitch.
Man.
Maurice is the homie, man. He's
Bro-
the homie.
Bro, so okay, for the audience, we had the area we were working in. We had a lot of disabled civilians working, and so Maurice is like this, just like awesome, like giant of a black man, just like,
Yeah.
but he couldn't talk, so like he was just full of expression. But he would like hug you, and he would just give you a lot of love.
Yeah,
And,
Maurice is great, man.
Yeah, Maurice, dude, Maurice found you. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine.
Dude, yeah, and he had that laugh. I don't want to impersonate him because it's kind of messed up, but like he had that, you know what I'm talking about? He had that laugh, and like he would always go like this too, like.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, like, and yeah, and nothing was said about that. No pun intended, but nothing more was said about that. And yeah, because man, especially like, I think you were there for that period of time where we were pushing like 4 to 4, 5 to 5, like, and if you had duty, you had to get there before, you leave after, right? And I mean, granted, it's not the worst thing in the world, but like, God, it was so boring. It was so fucking boring. Like,
monotonous.
you're sitting in there with the place with no windows, and then just like, and then you have to stay there longer when nobody's there, and it's like, fuck. Like, that's just like the most mind-numbing thing. Yeah, man.
It's soul sucking, bro.
So like, yeah, I was just like, everyone had left. I was obeying the rules. Staying till the flag had to come down. So I took a little nap. Took a little nap
on a table.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bro. Well, moving on to level 2, to deep. Which one do you want?
Let me switch it up. I'll go with this one.
All right.
What was your best concert experience? Well, speak of the devil, it would have to be with Jose, man.
Man,
it would have to be with Jose, man. He came up to Philly with me because Her was playing at the Met in Philly, and it was man, it was a cool experience. Like, this was during like when we had just started post-COVID, like we had just started doing that. I think he forgot his vaccine card, so he was like fucking panicking because like we're in Philly, right? Like Virginia's 5 hours away, and no, he was still able to get in. Like, they didn't really care, but yeah, that was a good time, man. Like, that experience made me fall in love with her as an artist. Like, she's so talented, man. Like, she, like, in one like set, she went from playing like the piano to the bass, lead guitar, rhythm, the drums. Like, I'm like, played a guitar solo. I'm like, man, like, this chick, she doesn't mess around. Like, and I was like, that, and she actually is performing. Like, how you go to a concert sometimes, they just got the song on in the background, they're not really performing it, right? But like, she's actually performing it, she's actually singing it, and it's just, I appreciate that. And Jose's just like good energy, you know what I'm saying? He loves concerts, and like, it's just a fun experience, man. So yeah, dude, the first Her concert with Jose, that was probably my best one.
So when Jose was down, I was actually asking, like, hey, like, do you ever want to be on the podcast? And he was kind of dodgy. Yeah. And I think at the end of it, it's because he feels like he can't provide anything, quote unquote. But it's like, dude, like, get out of your own head. Like, you're so
that's
funny,
such a Jose answer, bro.
Like,
that's such a him thing to say. Yeah,
like, I just one day, because my older brother has also met him, and he like loves him. Like,
oh yeah.
I feel like any person that has I mean, obviously, like, if you're a person who's rather insecure and you don't like it when somebody tells you the truth or is, like, is blunt, you're probably not going to like Jose.
No.
But, like, Jose just tells it like it is, and he just, because of that, though, you're able to improve so much in life. And, bro, Jose.
Yeah,
Jose's just a good dude.
Yeah, he's a great friend, man. Great friend. And that is such a true thing about him, is, like, and one of the things I do like about him is that not only does he tell you the truth, but it's, like, a very well, like, it's almost like he like wrote it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he describes what the hell is happening. Like, he's aware of the situation at hand, and it's like, yeah, man. Like, he's a real one. He's a real one.
Jose, bro. Well, moving on from Jose, although we don't want to.
Yeah.
Level 3. Which one do you want?
Okay.
Top.
All right. Have you saved anyone's life? When and how? I don't know. Not that I know of. No. Who knows? Yeah, not that I know of.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Super dope, man. I mean, moving right along into it. The first question I usually ask every guest
Mm-hmm.
is, when you were a kid, what did you want to do when you grew up?
Man, when I was a kid, you know, I think that's the thing about me, man. I didn't really have like direction. I was just kind of going with the flow. I mean, that's honestly how I joined the Navy. Was like I wasn't a dumb kid. Like I graduated with honors and everything. And the problems I had then are problems I'm having now, and I'll tie it all in. But yeah, that's kind of why I joined the Navy. I didn't really have direction. Like, I mean, sure, there's maybe some fantasies like, oh, what if my music makes it, or what if whatever. We all fantasize when we're younger. But yeah, man, I didn't really have like a direction at the time, and that created its own challenges, which is why I just kind of joined the Navy. And to tie it in, like I said, I'm looking at my life now, and like I'm starting to make a lot of big realizations, right? Like patterns that I'm picking up, like on like man, like where maybe you could say like, okay, like I was the issue here. You know what I'm saying? By noticing patterns and I guess toxic traits that you have displayed throughout your life. And the main one is I've never really challenged myself. I feel like I'll take this last semester for example. I think I'm going to finish with a 4.0 in all my classes. Like I'm doing great. But I kind of noticed that I was worrying about like shit that didn't really matter, like petty stuff, drama, whatever. And I'm smoking a lot of pot and shit like that. And I'm like, I thought about it the other day, and I'm like, if I can, smoke all this weed, get these great grades, but I have time to sit here and worry about what does he say, she say, think, whatever. It's like, I'm not challenging myself. I could be doing so much more. Obviously, school is not challenging me enough, because if I'm, just chilling, moderately challenged, pretty much by the fact that I'm doing it to myself, I'm smoking pot and just, just kind of, but, yeah, that's been the big theme in my life is I've never really had direction. I've never really challenged myself, and that's kind of where I'm at now. And that's kind of why I wanted to go to U of M, is like I wanted to be in a challenging program. I wanted to, I wanted to be stressed about shit. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to, the only way to it is through it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just kind of my experience with, yeah, I didn't really have anything I wanted to do when I grew up.
Gotcha, bro. Let's footnote this.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely something I want to come back to.
Sure.
What life advice would you give young Tim Bruce?
The more you challenge yourself, the less challenging life will be. I think that's the best way I could put it. Because like I said, I just, coasted by, never really exposed myself to much adversity. I didn't really like conflict too much. I'm not really naturally that kind of person. Yeah, the more you challenge yourself, the less challenging life will be.
Yeah, man, I'm just a huge fan of the quote, choose hard now, life will be easy later.
Mm-hmm.
Choose easy now, life will be hard
Yeah.
later. And I think a lot of people just... I actually do want to say this about our current military now. Maybe because we're veterans, I can say
Sure,
this. A
yeah.
lot of people avoid that friction. Like, I remember for a long time, actually, I remember it was you and I, like, I would see you running around at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning sometimes. And I'd be like, hey, bro, like, what mile are you on? I'd be like, oh, like, I'm on mile 2. Like some David Goggins on the boat shit, right? And, like, everybody else would come in. And I get it. We were more of a support unit.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, everybody else that would come in, everybody's, like, on FEP. Everybody's getting, like, more out of shape. Like, they're, like, people are falling out because they can't run half a mile.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think it's interesting, right, that you're saying that you felt like you never pushed yourself. Maybe it's because you've always been looking at the uncommon. So David Goggins coins this term as he had the desire to be uncommon amongst uncommon.
Okay.
So, like, I think it's already uncommon for most people to join the military. 1%
Sure.
can do that.
Sure.
But we both know that 1% of the 1%,
Yeah,
those guys are
Yeah.
those guys are those
Yeah.
guys are doing it. Those guys
Yeah.
they're tough. But yeah, man, like I really wanna probe the deeper question of, is it because you've always lived? Is it because like you're a city boy from Philly who's always lived with a chip on his shoulder, like with something to prove, and that's why you feel like you've never pushed yourself because you always felt like you were in the middling category?
I think really, if anything, it's mostly because I have a guilty conscience. I'm very
Mm.
hard on myself.
Mm.
I think, and one of the things I've had to learn to deal with, after the military, when I've really been finding myself, is, you know, to deal with failure better. Um, it kind of goes back to what I was saying with I never really like look, you know, went after adversity when I was younger. I just wanted to be comfortable, and I regret that. I wish I would have done more tougher things, but I was too nonchalant. I was too, rather than hold myself, excuse me, rather than hold myself accountable, I would, oh, I don't care, right? Like I would tell myself I don't care, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I cared so much, but yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
I would definitely
yeah,
call you out on that. But you and I both. Like I think I remember it was the second time that, actually I think it was the third time I was eligible for HM3, but it was like your like fifth or sixth time.
mm,
And I remember the like I think Senior Chief Goff came out and she was like, "Hey y'all, like I just want to come out and say like thank you all for your hard work. Nobody promoted." And I remember like everybody's face sinking. I already expected it. Like I was like, I don't care. Like I genuinely don't care. Like I'm gonna, because at the time I was so focused on real estate investing.
sure, yeah,
But like I remember like looking to my left and to my right, and to my right was you, and then I think to my left was Honchel, or Chase, at the time. And I just remember like the look of like utter like destruction of like we worked so hard, and you know what's crazy too, is I remember looking up the pay chart, and from E3 to E4 was like $100 extra a month.
yeah,
So like you're breaking your back. You're putting in all this extra effort
yeah,
for what? $100 extra a month?
yeah.
And yeah, man.
Yeah, I think for me it was just kind of the first time I ever invested time like on my own into something, which is why it was very important to me because after I got it, it was just kind of like, oh, this sucks. like fuck this. Like yeah, but don't get me wrong, I'm proud of myself and it was an honor to get selected and I definitely don't regret joining the Navy or anything like that. Regardless of the experience, good or bad, but
Good and bad.
yeah, yeah, that's a better way of putting it. But yeah, so
So let's circle all the way back to, so we kind of showed that memory lane a little bit, and I'm sure we will.
yeah.
More. But now that you're out of the military, how has life worked out for you? So I personally never had post-military depression. Did you?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. I mean, it was a multitude of things. I think the main thing was it was just such a big change for me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so glad I did it, but I moved to a state where I knew mostly nobody. Um, I don't think smoking weed really helped me at that stage in my life because I fluctuate. I'll smoke and then I'll stop and then I'll smoke and then I'll stop.
Does it come in periods of like smoke and like hang out and then like game on, like study, like work, and then
Yeah.
like I'm gonna take a break and then smoke again?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Just like, whoa, let me get my shit together for a while, and then it'll be like, okay. All right, let me get my shit together again. But I've been thinking about nipping it in the butt altogether, or for the most part lately. So,
I wouldn't blame you.
yeah.
I would encourage it. So
Yeah. But the number one thing was I had unrealistic expectations. I thought I was going to get out of the military and everything was going to go the way I wanted it to go. I thought I was going to get out, meet a bunch of friends, just really hit it off in Michigan, and that's not what happened. There's my cousin who I live with. He's a bit older. He's 29, so still similar age range because I'm 26.
Yeah.
His friends, they've welcomed me in. They're great people. I'm so thankful that they've been as kind to me as they have been. But honestly, and I've talked to my cousin about this, I've definitely wanted to meet my own people. You know what I'm saying? Make my own connections. Because at the end of the day, him and his friends, they have a history. They've grown together. I'm just kind of the addition, which is fine. That they don't treat me like that or anything, but it's still the truth.
At the end of the day,
Yeah,
you already know.
it's still the truth. Like that's just the dynamic. That's just it's all good, but that's just what it is, right? And and it just it was disappointing. It was hard to deal with. It brought on a lot of kind of self-loathing. I started getting really hard on myself. I started, because I had also lost some friendships too in that transition out of the military.
Yeah.
And it was really tough, man. It was just like, it's almost like I had to get broken down again. And now I'm in the rebuild stage.
Again.
Again.
For the third time.
But this past year has been the most important year of my life.
Yeah.
And it's been tough, but I'm glad it has been because I am seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's getting better and things are on the up. Fingers crossed I get into U of M's nursing program. That starts this summer. I think I will. My grades are great. Got the veteran bullet. So we shall see. I'll be actually working on that this whole Christmas, New Year period off. So I'll keep you updated on that. But yeah, man, it's just I struggled to make connections. Struggled to just find my crowd of people. It's just so different than in the military, man. Like we kind of had that common thing that united us, even though it sucked. But it's just like it just brought together some of the best friendships that I still have to this day, even if we don't talk that much. I can rely on a handful of people in my head that if I pick up the phone and call, they will answer.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to Justin about this big cocks.
Oh my God, JC!
Let's
baby. Go, dude.
And actually, I had because he's on the I think he's on the Truman right now, or I don't know. I think he's on.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I feel so bad. He might be on the Washington, but I had lunch with him, and I couldn't agree more, bro. With how like you have like select people that like if you text them or call, like, what's up, bro? Like, it might not be as civil. Be like, what do you want? I'm working. But that's
right.
like, that's all in the love.
Mm-hmm.
And he also talked about how trauma bonding, bro. So one of the big reasons that we were able to connect is because I've already been through the same level of discomfort that you've already graduated from.
Mm-hmm.
Or in this case, we've both already graduated from like that same place.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like going to like, it's ritualistic.
Yeah.
Like we went through boot camp. Then you go through A school.
Sure.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Then we go to C school.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, we work together for
yeah.
the next 6 years or so. So we literally there's the shared trauma bonding,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's also the brokering of work and the points of contention throughout the friendship that we've had. But all that to say that's how friction. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Swords are made by being melted down.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with like the trauma bonding, I get that, like let's say you're in Michigan right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like the plus one. I would say, this is going to be my complete projection. They don't feel like perhaps as close, or you might not feel as close with them because there is no shared trauma bonding yet.
Right. Right.
So, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They probably have a bunch of experiences together, like, oh, remember that crazy night when, or just whatever, right?
Yeah.
Those kind of things happen when you're, when you have friendships that you've invested in for a long time. Man, there's so many crazy stories I can remember about, like, shit I did out in town, like, while I was in the Navy, and, like, shit that went down at places that
Yeah.
I was at, and it's just like, whoa, like, Virginia was a fun time. Like, although I didn't like the job I was doing, Virginia was a fun time, man. I do like this area. I do.
This area is pretty big ghetto, just like Drake.
Yeah.
It's pretty big ghetto.
Oh man, but yeah, it's just a very like. It just has everything, you know what I'm saying? It just has a little bit of everything, because
it's got a good melting pot.
Yeah,
it's got a good melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna think this sounds kind of crazy, but in California, like I just think the food is better, like the weather is better,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like
Sure.
the culture is, it's like taking a super small minority of like California's culture and like New York's culture, and like they kind of just have it like here in like Virginia Beach and DC, it like closer to like the closer you get to the city,
Mm-hmm.
and I found that really enjoyable. But I've always been more of like a suburbia fan. Where,
Okay, yeah.
You know, it's just I'm far away enough from everything to where like I have peace and quiet, but I can go out and explore the flavors.
Sure, yeah.
You know, of the world. Would you ever come back to Virginia?
Yeah, sure. Just off the top of my head, yeah, I would come back. You know, there's some nice places out here. I never had any issues living in Newport News. I lived off Denby, in between Warwick and
St. Andrews.
St. Andrews Apartments. Yep, I like that little apartment, man. I was there for like 5 years, and they always treated me really well. So, plus it was a good price. I didn't really care about having all the fancy like
Amenities.
you know, marble countertop, whatever the fuck. Like,
Yeah.
I just needed it to function because, you know, I knew I wasn't going to be there forever. So, it was my first apartment, too.
Yeah. Yeah, man, a lot of memories were made in that crib. You know, like Marty's birthday, me like doing your first photo shoot for your album.
Yeah.
Just a lot of memories just
Yeah.
in that apartment alone. So
Yeah, man. I still have those photos. I was looking at them on Instagram the other day, and
dope, man. Dope.
I was just like, hell yeah, man.
It's crazy too, cause like that was like to think that was like almost 4 or 5 years ago. Like I've gotten so much better as a photographer since then. Well, I mean, I literally have
Yeah.
a media company now, but you know, I think when we move into proximity to our goals, you know, we find that we're capable of so much more.
Sure.
And now I'm wondering why you moved from physical therapy, because it's something that you always talked about.
Sure.
Why you moved from physical therapy to nursing.
Okay, I'm glad you asked me this because this is I got a little something funny to say at the end of this. So, for me, I'm looking at the investment, the overall investment. Why should I go to physical therapy school, become a PT, which is a doctorate program, right?
DPT.
8 years of my life, you know, GI Bill ain't gonna cover all that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna come out only making 65K. Plus, I'm stuck with that. I can't move into another field. You know, I'm a physical therapist. That's it. And as much as I am fascinated by that field, let's be real, money talks. I do like patient care. I do want to be in the medical field. So I gave nursing a look, hit up some friends who are nurses, asked them about it, and I decided to make the switch. It's just the scope of practice in nursing. Like, you could just do so much more. Like, you don't have to work as an ER nurse. You could be a travel nurse. I got a buddy, he like takes organs in a box. Like, the company he works for, they fly him and a doctor out. It's all paid for. He just goes, he picks up this organ, takes it back on the plane, and gives it to whoever needs it. He's making great money, and he gets free travel fare and all that shit. So I'm just like, man, like, and he's making 6 figures easily. So
Easy.
it's just like, you know, 4 years, 6 figures, 8 years, 60K,
Maybe 60K.
a bunch of debt on top of
Yeah.
it. I'm good. And the funny thing I was going to say is this, because I'm set on U of M. It's U of M or bust for me. That's the whole reason I moved to Michigan.
What is the second one?
Bust. Like,
Oh,
it's
like
U
you're
of
just
M.
not-
It's U of M or I'm
Damn,
just
bro.
not going to college. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
What a waste.
No, I'm kidding. But no, I definitely want to get into U of M. I'm pulling hard for that. So they have multiple campuses. They have one in Dearborn, which is, I'd say, like south of Detroit, like southwest. It's right next to it. It's actually the most heavily concentrated Middle Eastern area in the U.S.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of like I don't know if it's Arabian culture. I don't know how I don't know what the proper label is for it, but yeah, a lot of Middle Eastern people over there. Food's great. Food's great. Um, but anyways, yeah, they have a campus there. The main one in Ann Arbor, which I'm going to be moving to in May. Ann Arbor's great. I don't know if you ever heard about it. And then their physical therapy school was on their Flint campus, and I'm like,
Flint, Michigan?
Flint.
What the?
I'm like, no.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
like yeah, like
Yeah.
I kind of like to, I don't know, drink water when I'm studying.
Yeah, bro.
you
Okay,
know,
like, I kinda,
you know, like
okay, like I wanna footnote that too, because now I'm
yeah.
curious. But
hmm
go for it. Go for it.
No, that's pretty much it. That's the story. It's just that's why I made the switch, and I just thought that was funny. Like, man, had I had like fully committed to this, little did I know I would have been going to U of M Flint. I would have been.
Flint, Michigan,
I mean, the housing out there is dirt cheap. Like, I saw like
for a reason,
luxury apartments for like $650 a month, 2 bedroom, and I'm like, man, like hey,
bro.
it
But
ain't worth it. It ain't
the
worth it.
crime, bro. The crime, the water, the oh my god.
Oh yeah, well, it's Flint. Flint is like what happened to Flint is just awful, man. Like they lost like their population has been cut in half since like the 70s. That was a city that had like 200,000 people living in it at one time. It's like down to like 85 now.
Yeah, that's a huge.
25% of the houses in the city of Flint are abandoned.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's man, that's one thing that I wish Michigan, could get better at. Well, I'm not going to get into politics, but it's just yeah, there's a lot of abandoned homes. A lot of abandoned homes, like in Highland Park, which is like north of Detroit.
Mhm.
I'll drive through there sometimes to get to my cousin's place in Livonia, and God, driving through there, it's like just whole blocks of abandoned, burnt down homes, and it's depressing, man. It's like
Yeah.
it's tough to look at. It's so sad, and but yeah, Michigan is on the come up though. Michigan is coming back, which is part of the reason I moved back.
Mhm.
Like Detroit's on the way up again. Like they're building a new skyscraper downtown. It's cool. It's like
Wow.
I've never, because Detroit's a pretty big city. It's a pretty big metro. I've never like seen or heard of a city like recently that's doing that. Putting up a brand new skyscraper. I think it's gonna be the tallest one in the city. That's what somebody told me. I don't know, but yeah, Detroit's coming back though, so that is good. That is good.
Yeah. So, why didn't you decide to move back to Philly? And you chose the Midwest. I know that it was for school,
Mhm.
but you could have gone to school anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
I wanted another new start. I didn't think that going back to Pennsylvania would be good for me. I didn't think that I would really. I felt that I might be moving backwards in some regards.
Mm.
I just wanted to grow, man. I wanted to do something for myself, completely for myself for the first time in my life. That's one thing. I feel like I've always been like, when I was doing music, I was in a group. When I was playing sports, I was on a team. I'm in the Navy, right? I'm always like attached to this group, and it's like, man, I want to find out more about myself. Like, I want to just be thrust into a situation where it's like, it's just me, and I have been, and it's hard, but it's good.
Mm.
And it's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I wished for. And even as uncomfortable as it's been, like I said earlier, this has been the most important year of my life because of that.
Yeah.
I've, some may say I've changed. I would say I've grown. Yeah, and I really like where this is going. So, yeah, I just didn't really think that I would kind of make the progress that I've made back in Pennsylvania, around family,
Mm-hmm.
old friends, stuff like that. I just thought, Michigan's a better move. Let me get out of my comfort zone again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have your permission to attack you,
Sure.
bro? If you want to grow even faster at an exponential rate, stop smoking that za, man.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Just like, because like I think about it, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. As soon as I got out of the military, my older brother was like, "Hey, we have tickets to Bruno Mars," and it was the first time. Yeah, actually, like one of the first times ever.
Mhm.
Because like my cousin gave me an edible like without me knowing. And I was
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
This isn't a. Why does this brownie taste like this?"
Mhm.
So we go to the Bruno Mars concert, and my older brother's like, "Do you want an edible?" And I was like, "Do I want to like hop on this train?" And I was like, "You know what? Like I smoke cigars on occasion. You know, like I've been with the boys and like kicked
Mhm.
back some drinks. Like,
Okay.
what's the worst that it'll hurt?" And honestly, bro, like that was like the music when I was high and just listening to Bruno. Like he's a star already.
Yeah.
The fact that I was kind of like high off my rocker and just like,
Yeah.
oh, Bruno, bro, man, you good,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
And just like hearing him perform, but like that was the first time that like I'd ever been so high to where I was like, wow, like this is amazing. And then like after, I got crossfaded. Like literally was just hanging out with my older brother, like one of his best friends,
Mhm.
and my little brother at the time too.
Mhm.
And like this is completely all out of the military, you know.
Mhm.
So like as disciplined as I've been for my goal, this is like the first time I kind of just let loose. And bro, they said that I was literally swimming to like halal guys. Like they're like, stop, like you need to like stand up and walk. And great times, right? But I want to like bring it full circle to my point to where like if I live like that every day, where's the friction? You know, like where is the proving grounds of like of how I can grow?
Mhm.
So I don't know. That's just me. Like I
No, bro.
definitely haven't been, you know, like smoking
Bro,
as much
that's
as
like
you. So
no, that's real shit, and I know that. And I was literally talking about it with my cousin. I was like, kind of the conversation we had earlier. I don't know if we were talking about it before the podcast about challenging myself, or no. I think I mentioned it on here.
yeah,
We've just been flowing. So,
yeah.
just like getting good grades and all that. Like I'm, physically I feel and look better too. It's
Like you already looked great. You
Yeah.
look even better. Like
I appreciate
a
that,
year and a
man,
half
yeah.
later. So
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So it's like it's not like I'm not doing the right things. It's just I could be doing a lot more, and
could be.
it makes a big difference. Kind of like you were saying with Goggins, being uncommon among the uncommon, right?
Yeah.
And that's like the vice that I have right now. That's the only vice is just
Smoking that
I
za.
like smoking pot, yeah, or smoking weed or whatever the fuck people call it now. I'm not cool, so I don't know like fucking slang or anything like that. I'm like the world's worst millennial. I can barely work my phone. I have to talk to Siri to fucking put on Do Not Disturb. You see that?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm looking at the buttons. I'm like, what the fuck? Hey, Siri, turn my shit off, And so yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree with you, dude. It's fun, but it's counterintuitive to
yeah,
doing what I need to be doing.
like in moderation,
Mhm.
anything is acceptable.
Mhm.
Like notice how I don't say good or bad.
Sure.
I think in moderation anything
Sure,
is
yeah.
acceptable. The only reason I feel like I have the audacity to say that to you
Mhm.
is because you've always had goals even when you're already smashing current ones.
Mhm.
And I would even say that, like as I've got to meet more people and as I'm becoming much more confident in myself,
Mhm.
that people recognize that of me. Like my first episode with Coach Adam of Shift Combat Sports, he's been my Muay Thai coach since I joined the military.
Yeah.
And his affirmation of like, dude, like you're killing it,
Yeah.
was everything. I was like, really? Like, am I? And he said that he was just so impressed with how I was able to constantly just realign to new goals.
Mhm.
But bro, you do that. I think more often than not, you do that better, in my opinion. So
Really?
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so. That like whenever you lock in on a goal, you just attack it.
Yeah.
And then like you might need a break.
Yeah.
But maybe just take a little bit less of a break.
Yeah.
You know, and like if you're going into like let's say seasons of like working harder than smoking weed, maybe you should take seasons of working harder than like a day of smoking weed.
Sure,
and then
no,
seasons
definitely.
of like just attacking.
Definitely. I think another tough thing is like I've just been getting so much free weed. I honestly haven't paid for weed in like months.
Jeez, dude.
I had a friend. He grows because it's all legal in Michigan. So I had a friend. He grows. He gave me 2 bags of his homegrown. I worked this event because I have a part-time job. I work for like a staffing company. We'll get hired for weddings, big
Oh
business
yeah,
meetings,
bro. Yeah,
parties.
when you told me that, I was just so happy for you
Yeah.
because like it was in line with you going to school,
Uh-huh.
but it was also in line with you like just being you
Yeah.
and being explosive on that avenue.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a really fun time, and the woman I work for, her name's Silvana. She is such a sweetheart. She is the best person to work for. Like, I love working for her and her husband Paul. They're the best, man. And the job's fun. The job's fun. They pay pretty good. You know, it's a good experience. Also because I got to see all of downtown Detroit. I live in Troy. Um, Mixes that up sometimes.
I thought it was just like a
Like an abbreviation.
yeah. I was like
No,
Detroit.
Troy's like
Okay.
20 minutes north of Detroit.
Okay.
So, no, but I got to see some of the coolest places in Detroit.
Mhm.
You know, there are all these venues for private events, weddings, business meetings, whatever, and it's just really the best way. It's so cool. You get to see all these different parts of the city that you wouldn't normally get to see, and it's just been such a great way of introducing me to Detroit. And Detroit's actually a really nice city. You know, I know we were talking about like the housing and stuff like that, but really they're building it back, and it's beautiful, and it's great to see. But then again, I didn't grow up there. I'm just the new guy there. I'm sure there's people who live there who are like, oh yeah, fuck Detroit, this place sucks. But you know, yeah. So yeah, it's been cool to be a part of, and
Bro,
cool to work for.
so okay.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've been talking about this consistently or if you
Mhm.
completely shelved it,
Hmm.
but I'm just gonna bring it up.
Sure.
So, your pursuit with music,
Yes.
how has that been? Are you still trying to rap?
It's non-existent. No, I'm not.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I just me and that friend, we had a falling out.
Okay.
We still haven't spoken. He has tried to reach out and speak to me. I guess I just haven't felt ready, or, you know, I don't know. I've just been kind of in my own lane, in my own avenue, just kind of focusing on me, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll all work out
Yeah.
in the end. But for now, it's just like I'm just so focused on me and my goal. So
Yeah.
music for me just doesn't. It doesn't really fulfill me as much as it used to.
As much as I used to.
And I'm sure you know, as we get older, you gotta pick and choose what you invest your time into.
100%, bro.
And it's just
100%.
like I gotta focus on school. It's literally what I'm getting paid to do.
Yeah.
As fun as the experience was, and I don't regret it at all. It's all love. I had to move on.
Yeah.
Like I said, some people may say that, you know, in one way I've changed. I feel as if I've grown.
Yeah.
And that's just a part of life. And like I said, I think everything will work out okay, and
Yeah.
everything will all be good. So, you know, I'm sure that'll come to fruition eventually. But for now, I'm just kind of in my own lane doing my own thing. So.
Pivoting. So, do you remember when I was like training really, really, really hard?
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, bro, like I think I'm gonna go for like this like amateur championship.
Sure.
Yeah, that never happened.
Yeah.
That never happened.
Yeah.
Because like once I got like started training again, I found that I loved the art more,
Mhm.
and that's when I became a combat sports photographer. While I was active duty, and then I was like, "Oh shoot! Like this entrepreneurship stuff is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Let me invest in real estate." So I started doing that.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people don't get, and don't get me wrong,
Right,
I'm
yeah.
not an advocate of you like giving up on your dreams,
Mhm.
but I'm also, what I'm saying is that it's okay to pivot. Like
Yeah.
your dreams and your goals can change.
Yeah.
Like when we think of kids, because I never thought I'd be doing this as a kid.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I wanted to be a detective of all things.
A detective.
Like
Okay.
a homicide detective
Okay.
of all things. Like I don't, because I thought like catching bad guys and like
Yeah.
discovering murders was cool.
Yeah. 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 I
And
mean, yeah.
You know, and but when we move in proximity to our goals,
Mhm.
that's like a book I really feel like you should read, bro. If you feel like you're not challenging yourself enough,
Sure.
The Proximity Principle by Ken Coleman is a pretty good read. It's interesting because I think when you move in proximity to your goal
Mhm.
or to the dream that you have at the moment, and when you're not trapped by dogma, you can propel yourself forward even further.
Mhm.
So if I have the right to ask, what goals are you chasing now? So like besides like the traditional route of like medicine, and
Sure.
like what is the end goal?
The end goal. You know, before I want to be a nurse or anything else, I do want to be a father. I want to be a husband one day. One big thing I've done this year is I've reconnected with my faith. For me, that's I went back to Catholicism. It's
Okay.
just what makes sense for me, and I found a really good church that, in so many ways, is different from a lot of the churches I went to when I grew up, and it's a lot
Yeah.
looser and it's a lot more just. It doesn't have that very like I can't think of the word, just the very mundane
Ritualistic.
Catholic, yeah, kind of Catholic kind of vibe, and yeah, so that's sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
Like what is like the goal that you have
Sure, sure,
right now?
sure. Yeah, husband, father, you know, I do want to be stronger in my faith,
Mhm.
and a lot of that comes from that, from my faith, and
Yeah.
I also I want to be in a place where my future family is in a safe community, you know, around a lot of different people, exposed to a bunch of different cultures.
Yeah.
Um, I want to be in the best health that I can be in. Fitness is an everyday thing for me. Nutrition is an everyday thing for me, which is part of the reason I've gotten my body looking so much better. Uh, I've been able to deal with like different digestive problems and like get all this help through the VA
Hey
and
yo, bro.
yeah.
So the IBS, run me
Mm-hmm.
through that, bro. You would drink a Coke, and like I'm not even joking. Like 3 5 minutes later, you're taking a shit,
Yeah,
bro. Run me through how you're feeling now, cause bro,
dude,
it was bad.
it's so I'm off of my medication.
Wow.
It's been a month, yeah. It's been a month. It's
Congratulations.
it's been a bit of an adjustment, but I started taking like I think it's called psyllium husk or psyllium husk. Um,
Also, it's more like botany. It's more like homeopathic.
yeah, that's the route.
Okay.
I've been doing acupuncture
Mm.
too. I just did massage therapy today, but I'll also be doing massage therapy that the VA will be covering up in Michigan.
That's amazing,
Um,
bro.
I'm seeing a dietitian. I'm just taking advantage of the resources at the VA, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's got me feeling great because that medication was actually an antidepressant, and
Uh,
it just because it had nerve blockers in it. I don't know. I got sick of it. I'm like, man, I don't want to take this anymore. Like, I don't want to take this shit anymore. I don't want to be on stuff that messes with your serotonin or whatever. Like, I just have to grit my teeth and find out what the real problem is because all that's doing is masking the problem.
yeah.
It's not actually solving it. And for now, it's just more fiber, protein in small increments throughout the day,
Mhm.
small meals throughout the day in general, and don't eat late at night. And it's been working.
Dude.
So it feels great.
Bro, well, okay,
Yeah.
like maybe to the audience they'll be like, "What the hell are these guys talking about?" But
Yeah.
the fact that like I know your struggle, like, bro,
Yeah.
we were working together for so long,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just remember like you'd so much as take a sip of Coke and be like, "Guys, it's hitting. I
Yeah.
got to go."
Right after lunch, I'd be in there for like 30 minutes, man, doing my thing, and just like, yeah, it
Dying.
fucking sucked.
Just
Yeah.
dying. Yeah. God. Well, for a little bit, I was I was a little concerned because I know Gil had like Crohn's.
Yeah,
He has Crohn's disease.
Crohn. Yeah, he did have Crohn's.
So it's like, dude, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
but no, it's gotten a lot better, and I mean, it still gives me problems here and there, but I'm moving in a good direction with my health overall. So, and that's one of the things I'm tackling.
Bro, so we're talking about health. We're talking about diet. We're talking
Uh-huh.
about getting right. Let's talk about fitness.
Sure. Yeah.
So, what have you been working on thus far that you've made great improvements on in the past? So, like, I say this because like literally all I've been doing has been lifting weights.
Sure.
So like my lifts, great.
Mhm.
Like, lifting 400 pounds is nice
Mhm.
until like I start feeling my knees start to shake
Yeah.
when I'm walking up the stairs.
Uh-huh.
And like I've just gained like 20 pounds since I left the
Mhm.
military. And so like I'm curious like on how you're doing it because do you still have knee issues?
No, I've been working on that. I mean, they still I still feel a little something in the right knee when I squat, but
Ooh,
for the most part,
pretty good, huh?
no, it doesn't swell up that much
Nice,
anymore. But for me, it's been I made a New Year's resolution. This is the first time I've ever seriously done that. Before that, I didn't really believe in it.
Well, yeah, because we were talking about New Year's
Yeah.
resolutions on how like so many people let's say they're gonna
Mhm.
go to the gym every day for a year.
Yeah.
You're full of shit. Like,
Yeah, no,
stop.
fuck no, you're
You're not gonna do it.
I
So
love the gym, and I don't go to the gym every day in
yeah,
the year. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Yeah.
So this is interesting that you were finally saying, "Oh, I'm making a New Year's resolution."
Mhm.
So what is it? I'm curious.
I did yoga every
Okay.
morning this year.
Wow.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some mornings I missed, but
Okay.
for the most part, yeah,
So very very consistent.
every morning,
Wow.
and my left shoulder's starting to bother me a little bit, so I now added shoulder stretches to that routine,
Okay.
and that has, man, that has just transformed me because not all strong people are flexible, but all flexible people are strong.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I'd honestly rather be more proportional, more lean, more flexible, just built better.
Yeah.
You know, just more life resistant, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I'm not really as focused on lifting heavy weights as I used to be. I still lift pretty heavy. I'm thinking about getting back into it, working my way up. I've been hitting a lot of like 5x5s on squat and stuff like that. But I know in this past summer, I did calisthenics strictly. I didn't even touch weights,
Good for you, bro.
barely, and I would just do calisthenics, yoga, and go play ball. So that's it. I would say for me, for my fitness, overall, it's, I got the yoga in the morning. I still lift. I play a lot of basketball. My cousins have me out there on the field throwing the football around too, like at least 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
It's the variety for me, and just, yeah, I would say that's the best thing. Don't be one dimensional in your fitness.
Yeah. Bro, we have this conversation often,
Mm-hmm.
but I really do think that if your body is feeling up to it now, like your knee isn't giving you that much pain, I think you should really give jiu-jitsu a try. Just give jiu-jitsu
Want
a
to hear
try.
my New Year's resolution for this next year?
Okay.
I actually was eager to talk to you about this because this is kind of your thing. As you may know, I used to wrestle.
Yeah.
I said to myself, I said, okay, am I going to sit here and cry about the fact that, oh, I haven't met any friends in school, and or, am I just going to go out, get out of my comfort zone, do something productive, learn something, learn a new skill, whatever. And it's like, you know what, let me go learn a new skill. So I told myself, once 2024 hits, my Invisalign payment stops this month.
Nice.
I'll have the money to be able to invest in a gym membership somewhere. I'm going to join a fight gym, whether it be MMA. I was thinking about, like, Muay Thai, possibly.
Okay.
That are just it's some kind of martial art. I told myself, I'm doing it. I just think that this would be big for me, too. Because as a man, I think it's necessary. Like, not to get on the whole cliche, like, men's self-help, fucking, I'm not even going to name names, but, like, it is important. It is important to be able to, have those skills to defend yourself,
Yeah.
as a man. So that's just kind of one thing I want to touch up on because, we're 26 and
26.
26.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
same age.
both Scorpios, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember that because I'm staying with Kim. She's always, she knows everyone's sign. She knows
Bro,
everyone's sign.
She doesn't even call me by name. Like whenever
She'll call you by your sign. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll just be like, "Hey, what's
Oh,
up, Scorpio?" I'll be like, "Kim, I have a name."
Yeah. Dude, I love her to death, man. She's the best. She's the best. But yeah. What was I gonna say? I got sidetracked.
That you're gonna join. So okay, this is kind of like the full disclosure to like my coaches or like anybody that's
Sure.
above me when I talk about this. So I think that it would be a mistake, in my personal opinion, it is a mistake to join MMA right off the bat.
Sure.
So we've trained together, and you have some boxing experience, you have some wrestling experience.
Yeah.
But in my projection and my personal opinion,
Sure.
if you start off in MMA only being like, let's say competition amateur at best, you're gonna set yourself up for failure in the long run compared to if you're fighting a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So one championship. Um, let's even say the UFC. A lot of those men and women who compete in one championship have been world champions in one
Oh
thing
yeah, yeah,
before.
yeah.
So if you're thinking of like let's say you want to compete in wrestling again, I don't know how well that'll apply for your knee, but like let choose one is my personal opinion. So if you
Sure.
want to do, actually I would even say like do boxing again and like really like try to go into
There's a
amateur
Mayweather gym
competitions.
right down the street from me, actually.
Oh, dude, that's so dope.
Yeah, it's in Birmingham. Birmingham's this really nice area, right next to Troy. Really nice little town, and
It's up to you.
yeah, well, yeah, Mayweather's from Michigan. So is Clarissa Shields.
Yeah.
They're both from Michigan. Man, maybe I should do boxing, man. It seems like it's like
Yeah.
the boxing capital of the U.S., man. Just
Yeah, I mean,
producing the goats. Like,
Yeah.
shit, maybe I should. Like,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Muay Thai. Like
Uh-huh.
that is like, for striking at least, that is like the lifeblood of of my knowledge,
Mhm.
because my first coach was a Muay Thai coach. Then like
Mhm.
after, because like just family grew up
Sure,
really poor.
yeah.
I actually met a boxing coach. Well, he wasn't even like really a true boxing coach.
Okay.
He
yeah.
was a local sheriff who would compete in like charity fights, and so he would train all the other police officers. And his name is Ansel. Super dope. He took me in under his wing when I was fighting like my friend like in the park. He's
Mhm.
like, "Y'all don't need to be fighting here. Like you need to fight in the gym."
Mhm.
Long story short, so if you were to try striking, my personal, I mean, if you probably will have like a higher caliber of like boxers in Michigan because
Mhm.
it's Michigan. But don't get me wrong, if you find a good Muay Thai gym there too, don't sleep on it.
Mhm.
But if you decide to go for jiu-jitsu or judo, my favorite martial art in the world, actually, is judo. So I
yeah.
love like the overhead throws,
Mhm.
like the feeling of like shoulder throwing somebody successfully.
It's kind of like Greco-Roman a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All upper body throws.
All upper body. I mean, there is the leg throw, but the
Mhm.
fact that like I think I was 140 in high school, like literally throwing over my entire body, a 240-pound man. Yeah, the stroke of ego that I got from like that
Oh, yeah.
competition was ridiculous. Cause like I think that day I won like 2 tournaments, like just in the same day, and so
Hell yeah.
and I was like 140, 150ish at the time. So like I have really fond memories of like judo. I wish I took more pictures. I wish like my dad took more like videos and stuff, but they're like nowhere to be found.
Oh shit, that sucks.
It does suck. It does suck. I think it's just because I was so focused on the training aspect,
Mhm.
and I never got to like I did like not even really like an unsanctioned smoker,
Mhm.
but like I call smokers really hard sparring anyway, in boxing, and I got punched in the face so hard I found out the meaning of life. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think that if you're gonna go with a martial art, go with Muay Thai or boxing, or go back to wrestling or try jiu-jitsu. And my personal opinion on it is I really do think that if you have the ability to compete in one thing, you should just try to compete in it and then try to become the very best you can and then consider switching.
Yeah.
Because if you move into the world of MMA, and don't get me wrong, like
Yeah.
you could go to like it could be Israel Adesanya, Conor McGregor teaching you, and I promise you you'd have an easier time like moving up the ranks in like a competition setting if you specialized in one thing.
Mhm.
Like I just to my soul, I like believe that.
No, I
Yeah.
definitely think that's accurate. I mean, growing up as a wrestler, it's like, I know you mentioned like the different promotions like the UFC. I think one of the things wrestlers can brag about is I think of all the different martial artists or types of martial arts in mixed martial arts, most UFC champions have been produced by those who came from a wrestling background.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrestling, man. Well,
They're tough, man. That's what it is. Like
bro.
wrestling. Dude, it was. I wish I did 4 years of it in high school. I think I quit my like junior year because I had to work,
Dog,
pay for my car.
I could only survive 1 year
It's fucking brutal, man.
It was actually not even 1 year. 1 year would be like technically you did 2 seasons. One
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
Like I lost every single match until my last match.
Your first year, oh yeah, it's like that.
Just
Yeah,
like lost every single match, but my last match, which was like,
yeah.
I made it. But dude, bear crawls across the track or the field
Uh huh.
like for miles wasn't out of the question. Like I remember like one of the dumbest things we had to do was like carry a log for like I think a mile, just a big ass log that like coach found like in the middle of the woods somewhere. I don't know, like because like
Yeah.
our high school had a lot of like forestry to the side,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so I guess he had the like, and then like what is it like chopping wood, like axe slices. Like to this day, bear crawls and like chopping wood or anything in the form of like like tire hits or chopping wood are my favorite exercises.
Yeah.
But wrestling is just next level.
Yeah, it's
So
grueling.
ridiculous, bro.
It's grueling. You know, they're just wrestlers. It's like the best mix of athleticism,
Yeah.
power, speed, agility. Like, no wonder that they take the cake on most championships and stuff like that in the UFC. It's just they're built to last. You know, I wrestled with a guy. He was like, I think a top 15 heavyweight
Wow.
at the collegiate level.
Mm-hmm.
Guy named Mike Boykin, nicest guy ever too. Such a nice guy. Yeah, that dude, like,
Beast.
it's levels to this. I mean, granted, I was a lot lighter than him, but like, God, it was so humiliating whenever I had to wrestle, and which wasn't a lot. It was few and far between times, but it's just like, this guy can just fucking whoop my ass, and I don't even stand a chance.
Can't do anything.
Yeah, you know, it's just like I could barely pick this guy up. I was like 140, 150 at the time, and like
bro.
I think he was like 195, 200, and yeah, man, I think he won states his senior year. Like, dude was just a natural, and yeah, man, just like they're beasts, especially at that elite like D1 collegiate level, transitioning into the Olympics and stuff like that. They're yeah, that might be a good idea to go do that just for the toughness aspect, the challenge.
Yeah, like honestly, bro, what's interesting about a lot of martial arts is everything is tiring.
Right.
But the most brutal conditioning I've ever experienced and endured has been in Muay Thai, and that comes second to grappling. Like that comes second to my wrestling training and my judo training. Like I remember one time that coach was like, "You all are wrestling until this time stops, and if anybody is seen resting for more than 5 seconds, you're running 3 miles, and you're adding 3 miles every day until the end of the season." And so I remember like not wanting to run 3 miles because I think coach had us run. Keep in mind this is high school, so like technically we're spring onions, or I think coach literally had us run 8 miles. He was like, "You're not stopping until I say stop." So he had us run 8 miles. We got 10 minutes to rest, drink Powerade. He's really cheap, so he brought Tang. That is not Powerade. That's
Tang?
terrible, bro. Brought Tang.
Tang, dude, that's like poor man's Kool-Aid, and that's
exactly, bro. It's like
that's bad. Wow, man.
So like Powerade, no Tang.
He hated y'all, man. Tang is
Tang,
crazy, but hell yeah.
So 8 miles, 10 minutes to drink Tang, and literally said wrestle. Put on Eminem, and like I think the reason I can push, and the reason I see it in other people too, like if they have like a second wind almost, I feel like they've probably wrestled. Because like I've seen that to where you're like running, like you're dying, and then you'll just like you'll just like the
that
second
just,
wind, and you're just like, all right, this guy has probably wrestled before, and it's ridiculous, man. Because like
it's
heart like heart just feels like it's being ripped out of your chest.
Man, like there's practices I threw up. Like it's just, especially the holiday practices, man. Like on Thanksgiving and stuff, man. You're just like the early morning ones, the tournaments. Ah, man, it was yeah. Horrible times, but great times.
Horrible but great times.
Yeah.
Horrible and great times.
Yeah, horrible and great times.
Yeah, man. But moving on from this,
Sure.
let's go back and dive in to the transition onto military life.
Okay.
So we got fitness covered, we
Yeah.
got school covered.
Mm-hmm.
How has your mental been, bro? Seriously,
Yeah.
how has your mental been?
It, as I said, the transition's been a struggle, making connections, things like that. But looking back, where I am now versus where I was at the beginning of the new year, I feel like a completely different person. I think the thing that I am searching for the most at this stage in my life is firm identity. As I was saying earlier, I've always been a part of a group or this or that, and it's like, who am I? Who am I really? I know we have a bunch of different things that make us who we are, but like, removed from all that, removed from my family, hometown friends, the Navy, sports, whatever. Who am I? And I'm still figuring that out, but it's an exciting journey. It's a great journey.
Yeah.
It's tough being in places where you don't know anybody, trying to make connections, trying to meet new people. You meet somebody new, and it's like, oh, actually, I don't know. Just that whole process of dating, too. Dating's tough when you're in a new place, too, because
Are you dating?
I am seeing somebody right now. It's, we're not, like,
It's nothing serious yet.
nothing too serious, but she wants me, I want her. And we're seeing how it goes. So, and it's going great so far. So, yeah, we'll see. I think it's gonna go places though, knock on wood. But yeah, but dating in Michigan was tough because it's like I'm meeting most of the women I meet off of like dating apps, and then there's kind of stipulations with that versus meeting people authentically. So it's just the big adjustment, finding myself, just kind of making my own way. It was really tough at first, but now I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm just really excited to see where this keeps going and who I grow into or grow to become this next year. Actually, let me ask you in return, like this year in review, like what's like, I guess, the biggest growth that you've noticed in yourself this past year? Because how long have you been out now?
1 year.
Yeah. So from the time you got out to now, like, what's one big change you've noticed in yourself?
How deep the word relinquish is. Like, notice how we're not talking about sacrifice anymore. You know how the military's always like, oh, sacrifice.
Yeah.
But to truly get into, like, the etymology of the word sacrifice, relinquish, I think, is a hard comparison to make. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so the word relinquish has a deeper connotation than sacrifice. Because in order to relinquish something, you have to completely give it up or abstain from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my personal observation, I found that meant trying not to date for the sake of dating or for the sake of, like, I'm kind of bored or I feel kind of lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go on a date.
Mm-hmm.
Relinquishing that in place of growth to, like, say, start the company, start the podcast, put more attention into this.
Mm-hmm.
Relinquishing relationships,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest one.
Yeah.
The ones that I didn't really want to relinquish either.
Mm-hmm.
Saying no. I'm a man,
Mm-hmm.
right? There was a girl that I was seeing, and, like, we both confessed, like, hey, I'm very sexually attracted to you. Oh, great, I am too.
Mm-hmm.
I had to put a very hard point of contention and ask, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this going to lead to marriage? Do you believe in the same things that I do?
Mm-hmm.
The answer was no.
Yeah.
So, relinquishing that relationship to get closer to, again, like what I desired,
Mm-hmm.
which was business, also growing in my faith, Christianity,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just the word relinquish, bro. Like there's so many
Yeah.
things given up, sacrifice for the sake of increasing spirituality, increasing finance, increasing business,
Yeah.
increasing the relationships I want. And honestly, like I would even say now, like yeah, like they're honestly I think they listen to it, so I'm not gonna say. But there is definitely a girl that I have a crush on that I met this year, and it's like it's meeting her and seeing how like I'm attracted to her peace,
Mm-hmm.
and so maybe you'll agree with this. I was looking for peace in the wrong places. I was consistently looking for peace. Did it shut off?
No. No.
Okay.
No.
I was consistently looking for peace in the women that I was trying to date. I was looking for peace in the money that I was constantly trying to build. I was looking for peace. The story goes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, I had peace inside the entire time.
Yeah.
And I just had to turn to it.
Mm.
And so relinquishing the things that were in the way of that peace,
Yeah.
of that inner peace, is something that I've had to have a really hard look at.
Yeah.
And that's how this year has definitely been going, is meditating on peace, meditating on honor, meditating on relinquishing the things that I can't have or that I shouldn't have because there are things that I want.
Dude, I love the way you worded that, especially, talking about relinquishing relationships or vices we may have. It's tough, man. It's tough to do that because it's like sometimes when you relinquish that relationship, it hurts you, but it also hurts them.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't want to hurt them,
Yeah.
but it still does. And it's like you can't be like, hey, I can't have you around, but hey, don't be like mean to me because of that, or like don't feel some type of way about that, because like somebody's gonna like, oh, you're getting rid of me, I'm not good enough, like fuck you, like you might get different reactions, and it sucks, man. It's just an overall uncomfortable thing, especially when you do truly love and care about a person. To do that, it's so tough, man. Like I commend you for that, man, because I've been there. That's like exactly what I've been going through. Just saying goodbye to some old friends and, setting sail for wherever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
I mean, like the way that I look at it too is like let's just like we're both men here.
Yeah.
Like let's just break it down.
Sure.
Saying no to sex as a man it can be difficult.
Oh my God.
Especially because it gives you a validity of like, oh, like hey, you're attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like hey, like this woman wants me.
Yeah.
But to say no to it in pursuit of greater goals,
Yeah.
because it's distracting, because
Mhm.
it's one, it doesn't agree with
Yeah.
our faith, has given me so much honor in the fact that like there are women I've met that are like just as chaste, and it's like wanting to live like that. Like I think what's the comparison? Like if you look for a trad wife, a traditional wife,
Mhm.
you have to be a traditional man.
Yeah.
So, like relinquishing the sex, relinquishing the lust, relinquishing the desire,
Mm-hmm.
in place that you know that something's better
Mhm.
down the way. Can I probe the deeper question?
Sure.
What did you have to relinquish, or who did you have to relinquish that was of the same?
There really isn't one singular person.
Mhm.
There are a few people that come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it just for various different reasons. Sometimes you grow out of things, you grow out of people,
Yeah.
and it's not even about like in a condescending way. I'm doing my thing my way and it's right and yours is wrong. It's just like
Grow apart. People grow apart.
when things don't click, it sucks, man, because it's like it's with the person that you care about. It's with the person you have a relationship with, and it's it happened with close friends in the military, close friends back home in Pennsylvania. It's hard, man. It's like going back to what I was saying earlier. It's like you have to release them, and you don't want them to hate you because of it, but like that's not a good thing to tell somebody. So it's like, and then that hurts within itself because you don't I think I know you well enough, and I think you know me well enough. We're not the type of people where we try to intentionally hurt anybody.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's like when you do, it's a shitty feeling, man. It sucks. You know, I don't want to do that to somebody, but you know, what better person to advocate for your life than you? And
Yeah.
sometimes it just needs to get done. And yeah, so some friends from back home, some friends from the military who just for whatever reason, things fell apart. Whether it was very outward and bad or very subtle and just faded away,
Mm-hmm.
it was necessary for me to grow in the direction that I have grown. So, as for vices, I don't drink as much anymore. I don't, it's just.
Good for you, bro.
I mean, I kind of replaced that vice with another one, but it's definitely that's one thing that's better for the gut too is not drinking.
So I will say that like if you had to pick one or the other, and this is the entire thing, like if the military let us use other vices that were more homeopathic, like let's say marijuana, or
Right.
you wouldn't have all these DUIs.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have all these people getting killed on
Mhm.
duty or being negligent. Like if they just had a day to just decompress
Mm-hmm.
and go to sleep properly, or
Sexual assaults too.
Sexual assaults happen because of alcohol.
You were Sabre VA, yeah.
No, I wasn't.
I thought
No,
you were.
No. I was like a huge advocate for it.
Okay.
For the audience, what is a Sapper VA?
Oh, a sexual assault prevention victim advocate. It is a collateral duty that you can perform while you're in the Navy.
Yeah. So, I was never like. That was never my title,
Okay.
but if any women at the command had problems or like wanted to talk to somebody, I was always an open ear.
Yeah, for sure,
You
for
know,
sure.
so
Yeah.
It was never my title though.
Yeah. I got to be able to do that, and it's interesting, man. It's interesting. You know, the stuff you find out, and stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, ooh, and you can't tell nobody
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah.
not one of my favorite parts. Not one of my favorite parts of the military, but
Yeah. Fulfilling in the sense that like
yeah,
it was like a good job, but like terrible on the fact
Good,
that
yeah.
it was happening.
yeah, exactly. It's for
mostly
a good
because
cause,
mostly
but like,
because of alcohol.
yeah,
So,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
so.
So,
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like I still enjoy a glass of bourbon, like
Mhm.
maybe like a 2 fingers of bourbon and a cigar.
oh, I have a glass of wine
Solid.
here and there too,
yeah,
man.
yeah, solid.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like never have I ever like gotten blacked out drunk, and like, or again, at least since the time that I had, and like I think the last time was
Sure.
like 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just piss poor time to do it.
Me,
so.
I could drink. I could drink when I mean, I'm Polish. I'm a big guy. Like, I could drink, and man, I went drinking. Like, I did a good bit of drinking, like on my birthday weekend. My cousin, the girl I'm seeing, bunch of friends were all there, and man, I was like just having a few, and I think I was on like maybe number 5, and I was just like, whew, like get me the fuck out of here. Where like before, that's like, hey, like we're just getting there, you know.
Mhm.
Like when I was in the Navy, man, I could fucking drink, and
We had a tolerance. And the
Yeah.
tolerance was scary.
yeah,
tolerance
man,
was
because
scary.
it's like the only coping mechanism
Yeah.
for people in the military. It's, I mean, that or fucking let them throw medication at you.
Yeah,
You know?
personally for me, I refused to smoke cigarettes because I knew that I would get
Oh,
addicted to
hell no.
cigarettes.
Hell no.
Yeah, so I like the cigar like once a month was like a good enough release for me,
Mhm.
but like I told myself that I cannot drink
Yeah.
cigarettes because I knew that I wouldn't be able to wean off of it. Whereas like with alcohol, it was like okay, like
Yeah.
I'm tired of like having to participate in like this drinking party if I don't want to be here.
Yeah, because it's such a, like, and you feel like shit. Like, even if I don't drink a lot, like, wake up with a dry mouth and just kind of like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Kind of just like, you know, a little lackadaisical, like, just kind of, like, where if I smoke pot, like, most of the time, unless, like, I never smoke myself comatose.
Mm.
I'm pretty much a lightweight. I'll admit that on camera. I'm a lightweight. You know, I'm not the kind of guy who's just like fucking chiefing blunts all day. Like, I'm more of a, like, take a few hits, go do some shit, like, whatever, you know. I do everything high. I play basketball high. I fucking lift high. I'll study high. Like, I don't go to school high. I won't do that. That's where I draw the line. I won't be in class high or anything like that.
Okay, so here's a funny thing. It's something I learned in psychology. I don't recommend doing homework high. I don't recommend
I
it.
don't. No.
You don't. You just said you do homework high.
I study.
Oh, you study.
So, like,
That's even worse. That's even worse.
Hey, man, the GPA speaks for itself. I got a 4.0. Like,
Okay, all right there.
you know?
But okay, so it's a psychology technique to
Yeah.
where, like, if you're doing an activity consistently,
Yeah.
like, let's say, like, in a state of inebriation,
Mhm.
you'll do it better in that state.
Yeah.
So if you're studying for like let's say like it's your NCLEX,
Mhm.
you're obviously not. I mean, maybe you'll be high during the exam, but if you're studying for it consistently high, but when
Mhm.
you get to the exam and you're not able to recollect the
Mhm.
information, it's because you did it high.
Yeah. I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like,
Well, I study. I don't just like. Okay, when I say these things, I don't just like. I exclusively go to the gym high. I exclusively study it. No. I'm
that's
just
what
saying.
I'm thinking, bro. Like,
No.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. No. Like I said, I don't smoke that much. It's just like few hits. Go do some shit. Like, I'm not like just like fucking zombie going everywhere. Like, I'm a functioning human being. Does
Yeah.
it slow me down? Yes. Can I be doing a lot more? Yes. But like, I'm still doing good.
Yeah.
I just could be great. But yeah, no, I just sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm just like, you know, I got a lot of shit done today. Like, whether it's I went to the gym, I cleaned the house.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just sitting here studying. Like, all right, let me smoke a little bit and just kind of chill out and relax. And I got the laptop and my book, and you know, it's just kind of
Get to work.
It's kind of a thing,
I
and
gotcha.
you know, yeah. So it's studying high.
Studying high.
Yep.
I gotcha. Well, so if it seems to be working out effectively though, what, and again, like, my complete projection, just because I feel like I wouldn't need it.
Hmm.
I don't need marijuana.
I don't need it
edibles.
either. Yeah.
But like, why? What is the driving force to you wanting to quit now? Is it because of the faith aspect?
It's because of the challenge thing. It's you know, if I got time to sit around and think about petty little dumb shit, or you know, I'm noticing that I'm getting to the gym a little bit later than I want to.
Okay.
You know, things haven't fallen off or anything. Things, you know, no change in my grades, no change in my physical health. If anything, my physical health's better from when I was in the military. But
Yeah.
hey, end of the day, smoking is smoking, whether it's a fucking cigarette or it's weed. It ain't good for you. You know,
Why not just switch to edibles?
you know, that's an option, but to be honest, it's just,
So it's because you get it for free.
yeah, it's just, you know, I just think that any residual anxiety or just BS that I have going on, like, anxiety never goes away, but I think a lot of it will be alleviated by the fact that, you know, I'm just in a clear headspace. I'm, you know, not always fucking high. Like, I'm, you know, I just think that there's some benefits to it, and I think it'll help me address maybe some other issues that I'm not addressing, or addressing properly, at least. So, more so from just a productivity standpoint, I think I can be doing more. I should be doing more, without being too hard on myself. That's really what it comes down to. And plus, this semester is going to be a tough one. I'm taking organic chemistry, my second Spanish, and then statistics. So, it's this is gonna be a tough semester, but I'm looking forward to it.
Bro, are you good at chemistry? Like, are you good at memorizing the equations? Because I failed organic chemistry twice.
My last chemistry class, my bio class I got a 4.0, my last chemistry class I got a 3.7, and then I just took, the most recent science I just took was anatomy and physiology. If I don't get a 4.0, it's because of that class, but I think I just got it. Got it. So when it comes to sciences and math, I'm good at that. Do I like math? No, but am I good at it? Yeah. So I think organic chemistry will be fine. We'll
Gotcha.
It ain't gonna be fine, but I'm gonna have to work hard. But as long as I do work hard, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Hey, bro. We're actually cutting on like it's been a blast, but we're actually cutting on closing time soon. But
Hell yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what is purpose looking like for you? To kind of bring it full
Yeah,
circle.
sure.
You know, what is purpose looking like for you?
You know, I just had a deja vu moment. I feel like I had a dream about this, and I feel like no bullshit, no bullshit. Like this is weird. This is really fucking weird, because I remember this moment.
I've had this moment at least twice myself in this exact room. So
That's fucking crazy. Okay, my purpose, man. You know, I want to really just, if I can put an umbrella to cover it all, I want to be the best person I can be for myself, but most importantly for the world around me.
yeah,
I want to be a part of a community. I want to be a member of society who contributes positive things to a community through my work, through my family, you know, just through my existence. I want to be beneficial to the people around me. You know, God gives me this one life. I'm not going to throw it away by being out of shape, being overweight, treating my body like shit by eating unhealthy, smoking a lot, drinking a lot. Uh, if I were to say I had a goal or a certain purpose, it's to live to my maximum potential so I can be the best, not only for myself but for the people around me, because that's something I think everyone should strive for. I don't know. It's almost kind of like popular nowadays to be like, oh, I don't really fuck with people. I don't really. People are weird. And I don't know. I don't really like that. I'm a people person. I'm a connector, and you know that's. I guess one reason I really struggled when I came to Michigan was I wanted those connections. I wanted to be a part of a community, a part of a part of a group. You know, ironically enough, even though I moved out there to find myself individually. Yeah, I wanted to be a part of something new. So
yeah,
I'd say, yeah, just becoming the best person I can be, and you know, starting new beginnings. So, how about you, man? How about you?
purpose. So I said this once on the podcast, but I think purpose is the word sonder, coined by John Connick.
Okay.
He's the author of Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. Um, I attribute myself to a lamppost of light on the dark side of the road, or the literally the bench rest stop that you can sit on. It's enough for me to know that if I was in your universe, or if I was in your world for a microsecond or for a moment, and I was able to provide you with peace, with some comfort, whether it be a smile, a conversation, a podcast, it's enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's enough. And I think of purpose as this life calling to
Mm-hmm.
be ever curious, perpetually curious. Like on my tombstone, it'd be nice if it said Bodhiseo, forever curious.
Hmm.
You know, because I think that when we talk about like life and death, and I think when people talk about this perception of who they want to be, life is a sum total of our choices, and so I choose to be curious, and I think that's why I like starting this podcast. Whether it gets 10,000 views in 5 years, whether it gets a million or whoever, right? If I could help one person, I've done my job. And
I
honestly,
respect that, man.
I've helped more than one person already, which I was not expecting. And the love that I get from friends or random guests that I've
Mm-hmm.
actually never met speaks its volumes. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely times where I'm like, I should just quit.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm just
Everybody
gonna
goes through it. Mm-hmm.
quit. But I think purpose is choosing not only to be love, like choosing love, because it's a love for everybody around me. But I think what purpose is to be that lamppost of light, like just attribute it to that. And
Mm-hmm.
Sonder, like the definition of Sonder is essentially everybody around you is living as visceral of a life experience as you are. So that means that all pain, suffering, emotions, etc., there's a good chance that you have or will experience those emotions at a given point in time. Thus, that connects us and makes us alike, at least in that minimal regard, that trauma bonding, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I think that purpose is to just be that lamppost of light on the side of the road. I don't have to be your supporting cast. I don't have to be, somebody that's like uber influential. But if I could have, like, if you listen to a podcast, like this podcast for an hour, and it's a part of your routine, like, what a feeling for me.
Yeah.
And there are people who do that. The podcasts have no longer, like, our podcast is definitely not an hour.
Yeah,
and
man.
there's going to be people who, like, download it and listen to it, and they'll be
Yeah.
like, wow, bro, like, I really resonated with
Yeah.
what you said for now going to be, like, 2 hours.
Yeah,
which is
man. We've
amazing,
been chopping it up.
which is
Yeah.
amazing. But I think it's also to catch up for, like, the lost time. Like, I don't think
Absolutely.
2 hours does justice.
No, it doesn't, man. I feel like this conversation could go on for 2 more, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. But yeah, man, that's what purpose has been feeling like for me. Is to just do my best in that regard.
That's awesome, man. And
Yeah.
I like the way you worded it. You don't have to be everyone's supporting cast. And
No.
it's so true, because at the end of the day, what you are to people is just their small understanding of you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that understanding can mean a multitude of different things. And
I would even change the word to perception.
perception, right?
Yeah, because there are certain things about you that I perceive that you'd be like, you don't understand me, bro. Like, we're bros, but like you're not understanding me. Right now.
Sure, yeah. And so it's like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, that I get that, because it's like the only destiny you can really control truly is yours.
Yeah.
So there's no point in trying to be over involved in this area or that area. It's just like, you just gotta stay in your own lane, and whoever comes along for that journey will be there, whether they're there for the rest of the ride or just some of it. It's just I really like that ideology and your philosophy on that, man.
Thank you, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah, purpose. I also would even attribute it to the Japanese version of purpose.
Sure.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. No.
So, I guess I think I put my phone on airplane mode, so I won't be able to look it up.
Yeah.
Japanese word for purpose is ikigai. And
Okay.
in the ikigai is what you can do, how you help the community, what you
Yeah.
can get paid for. You might have seen that. And it encompasses everything into the middle part, and it's ikigai.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, like, purpose is.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sweet, man.
But, I mean, unfortunately, we have to end because the podcast studio can only run for so long.
Yeah.
But, do you have any other closing comments or questions?
To be honest, man, this has been just a great experience. Like, even though we're obviously in a studio, we're recording this. It's just like, just to be able to talk to you, man. Like,
Face to face.
This is a great experience. Regardless, cameras, microphones or not, like,
Yeah.
I would have done this with or without, man. It's just good to catch up with you, man. It's good to see you. It's good to see that you've grown in the direction that you've grown, and it seems like to me you're doing what you want to do, man, and I'm all here for it, man. It's like, I'm glad to see the boys seizing their moments in their own regard.
Yes, bro.
In our own lives. So it's just like, man, that's great to see. And shoot, if I'm ever back around, man, like I said, microphones, cameras or not, man, I would love to see and talk to you again, man.
Absolutely. And honestly, definitely if we plan it a little better too, either grabbing lunch or dinner after. So
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man. I mean, and likewise, like, even if it's, especially if you need me, and the times that we've definitely called each other or texted each other because we did need each other. Yeah, man. Just continue like leaning on me when you need me. Continue messaging me or calling me.
Sure.
Like, it's always here for you.
Yeah, likewise, man. Right back at you.
It always means a lot, bro. I think it's just like that military brotherhood, Like, it started there, and now that we're both out of the military, like, we have, like, that shared experience, too. Where it's
yeah.
F the military, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't feel that strongly about it anymore,
I always look at it with such a heart of gratitude. Like, I think when we were getting out, we like, made that joke of, like, oh, yeah, but everybody does.
Oh yeah.
And all the assaulted veterans go like, "Yeah, I wouldn't change. I would do it all over again." If you told me that I had to do it 100 times over to get to where we're at today, I'm sure we would all say like, "Yeah, like that's fine. Like let me do it again."
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely a worthwhile experience. Fact is stranger than fiction is the best way I can put it.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
What a what a good end.
Yeah.
What a good end, guys. Thank you so much for tuning back into Auxano. Remember that the grass is not greener on the other side; it is greener where you water. My friends, be well and walk tall. Take care.